Audience choice, let's do this. Tales from Retail. That's what you guys voted. That's what we're doing. Sorry I'm a day late. I'm a chronic procrastinator. Customer tracks me down after 4 years to scold me for not following company policy. I worked in sales at a large cemetery for several years until about 6 months ago. In early 2015, I sold the cemetery plot to a lady whose estranged mother had died. They had not spoken for 20 years. After the funeral, it was my job to sell her a headstone and try to persuade her to purchase additional cemetery plots for herself and other family members. She was a nightmare to work with. 15-minute appointments lasted hours because she talked non-stop and she expected someone to be available to assist her 24/7. She called me at home at 10 p.m. one evening to ask how to spell a word for her mother's headstone. I sold her 2 cemetery plots for herself and her high school-age son. And she also reserved 2 additional plots in case her son married and had kids. When she reserved the plots, I told her our company policy was to only hold the plots for 30 days, but that I left the reservations in the books indefinitely. I told her that I would not offer them for sale for anyone else, but if someone else asked to buy them, I would have to sell them to that person. I told her that if I ever left the company, I could not guarantee that the company would leave them on hold indefinitely, and that the only way to guarantee the plots would remain unused was for her to purchase them. We had easy payment plans with no interest, and you could sell them if you later changed your mind. I know I told her this because I told every customer the same thing for 5+ years. I could have repeated this spiel in my sleep. We also gave written price quotes. At the bottom of each quote sheet, it said, "Prices and plot reservations are valid for 30 days. I like to keep the reservations in the books and use them as a sales tool. Every once in a while, I would find the years-old reservations and call the families and ask if they were still interested in the plots because I had another family looking at them. My company knew I did this and approved of it so much they told other salespeople to try it out. Yesterday, almost 4.5 years later, she calls my cell phone and says the sales lady that took my place called her out of the blue and asked if she was still interested in the plots. The sales lady told her, "If you want the plots, you need to purchase them now. Otherwise, we can't continue to hold them for you indefinitely." My sales pitch still in action. She told me that it was very upsetting as I'd given her a contract that stated that they were on hold indefinitely, and she wanted to know what she could do. I said, "You don't have a contract that says that, if you remember. I told you blah 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 blah." Whole spiel again, which I still have memorized, and that on the bottom of the price sheet it says that they're only good for 30 days. She said, "Well, it was such an emotional time. I didn't read the fine print. I only went by with what you said." I reminded her that I said the exact same thing, just with more detail. I reminded her that I sent a letter to her to every other customer that I had told that to that I would be leaving the company and that I couldn't guarantee the plots which would remain on hold since I wouldn't be in charge of that anymore. Honestly, that was a last-ditch sales pitch so I could go out with a bang. But I did really care a lot about my customers, so I didn't want them to be surprised. This did not set well with her because she started shrieking about how I lied to her and how she was devastated that she had to buy the plots now or lose them forever and she didn't have the money for the down payment. I told her I'm sorry she was unhappy with the cemetery, but since I don't work there anymore, I can't help her with anything to cemetery related, and please don't call me again. She hung up and texted me all night about how mean I was until I finally just blocked her number. The down payment for the plots was less than $100. Her mother left her a will of over $1 million. Holy shit. Wonder where all that money went. So this first one's from a sales representative's perspective, which is fine. That's great. And he did everything legit. He didn't lie at any point in time, because that's the sign of a bad sales rep, is if they lie. He gave everything up front. He told you exactly what you needed to know, and it was the customer's own fault for not looking into the finer details. I don't really like this form of sales, only due to the fact is it really relies on the emotional fortitude of that customer, because anyone who's shopping for headstones, for the most part, aren't doing it just because it's a Sunday. They're doing it because something terrible has happened, so they're an emotional crutch at that point in time. But this woman got $1 million, and I don't know what the hell she blew it on.
You can't pick up something we don't have.
I work for a corner shop in England. It's part of a chain, but it's a small store, so we only ever have one employee at a time. One day, the phone rings and the conversation starts. AM for Angry Man. Hi, this is my shop. Carissa speaking.
Hi. I was there this morning and I left my keys behind.
When was that?
About 4 hours ago. I'll be down tomorrow to pick them up.
That's when my coworker was on. I'll just see if he put them in a box. I take a look at our little lost and found box, which is just underneath the counter. There's a couple of keys that have been there for a while that were never picked up. I was familiar with them and knew they weren't his. A quick rummage doesn't show any new keys in there. I'm afraid I'm not seeing your keys.
Don't give me that! They're right in the counter in front of you.
Looks up at the counter. Well, I'm looking at the counter right now and...
Don't give me that!
He repeated that a lot.
It was your fault that the employee couldn't open a bag right, so I had to do it myself. And so I had to put my keys down. Even if... They're right in front of you!
I'm looking at the counter right now.
Don't give me that! I know where I put them. I'll pick them up tomorrow.
But we don't have...
I'll pick them up tomorrow!
He never turned up. Yes. Back to entitled customers. Again, one of my favorite subjects, mainly due to the fact that I hate them. Okay, so I recently had something very similar happen to me at my work. And it was April 1st, so it kind of makes me think. But anyways, a customer called in, claimed that they ordered food, which is fine, and that we had put onions on the pizza. Well, okay, I'm sorry. Let me look into the meal. And he tells me the meal, specifically, exactly the meal he wanted. I looked through that day's records, and not once did we have a sale even slightly similar to that. Not only that, I looked into the sales for the whole week because it's an automated system, so we keep track of everything. Anything that gets put into the system is put into this little POS system, and I can see it. I can see the logs. I can go back as far as when the store opened. Not once during the week that that guy shopped there was that order, that specific order, ever placed. And he said, well, we're responsible for poisoning his daughter. She's allergic to onions. And I felt for him. I really did. But at that point in time, there was nothing I could do. There was no order matching anything he ordered. It was the most oddest thing, but he was fuming at me. And understandably so, because according to him, we poisoned his daughter. But at the same rate, there's no record. There's no record of this man even coming into the store. So at the end of the day, I think it was a bad prank, and I hated it because it wasted 45 minutes of my time on the phone being yelled at by a guy who never shopped at the store.
I had security walk me to my car because of this guy.
Background. I've been working in retail since I was 16. As soon as I could get a job, my parents drove me to the mall, dressed me nicely, and said, "See you in a few hours." And that's just how I got my first job. Relevant because that's where I was working at the time of this story. I was around 17 at the time. I worked in a small kitchen gadget store in a big outdoor covered mall. Nice area, not too big of a city, but off the highway, so a lot of people come by. Now that you have an idea of the setting, let's dive in. It was a rainy evening. Now at the store, it was common for one person to close alone, as there is a drop-off in customer traffic after like 8, as the mall closed around 9 on a normal week. It was around 8, I was leaving. My favorite coworker, an elderly woman that was just as sweet as pie, was closing. I say goodbye and go on my way home. Normal light, was gonna go get a Lunchable and an ice cream from the grocery store. Hey, high school life. On my way out, a strange man comes up to me and insists on walking me to my car. It's raining, and he has an umbrella. He had to be in his 40s, and he had a son my age with him. I asked him to leave me alone. He didn't. So I made up some BS story that I left something behind and ran back into work. Told my coworker, and I had security escort me to my car. They're always super chill at the mall, even letting me use shortcuts to get around my days off. I started carrying pepper spray, but that dude, I hope to never see him again. Haven't, and it's been many years. This last one here, creepy people are creepy, and that has been like a mantra. People are just naturally creepy, and sometimes it's unintentional. But I feel like there was a little bit of a hidden agenda behind this guy, especially since that he was so adamant about walking this person to her car. And it's unfortunate that it was like that, and I'm glad they had the wherewithal to go back into the building and go, I'm not dealing with this nonsense. I'm going to solve this. And I'm just going to get someone to hold my hand as I walk out of here because this dude is creeping me out. I'm really happy to hear that the guy never came back. I've never actually had a situation along this line because no one ever offers to walk me to my car with an umbrella. Kidding aside, I'm really glad that this person was safe in the end and was able to write this story. So keep being safe. If there's something inside your head screaming, this is weird, this is creepy, probably listen to it and go with your gut instinct, which is usually just go back to safety. It was late at night and there's no one else in the parking lot and it's just this guy and his son. It's a little weird. So just dip back in. So I'm glad they thought. I'm glad someone used the common sense brain because we're lacking that nowadays and it bothers me so much. But those are the stories of today. I'm not exactly sure which one's my favorite. I kind of like the cemetery one, but at the same rate, I don't like that form of sale, so I'm kind of conflicted on that one. The middle one was interesting, though. I did think the middle one was a little interesting because I've just recently dealt with a customer along this line. Do you have any stories along this line? Do you have anything that you might have gone through that you want to share with me? Well, I have good news for you. Bam! Discord. You can share it with me there. If anyone's trying to share a story with me, or you can tell me in the comment section below, and I will read it, and I will respond. I'm sorry for this past week. I know I had a schedule, but I had developed these new things called allergies, which I've never had in my life, and they have been killing me. My nose has been running, I've had the sniffles, and I hate it. I really do. I want to have my normal life back. Give me my normal life. I hate getting old. Also, it's my birthday this coming Monday, so yeah, that's a thing. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, because I have a little gift for you guys on my birthday if we can hit the 5,000 subscribers, but that's a lot of people we're going to be gaining in the next 2 days. Otherwise, you can join me tomorrow on Sunday for VR chat, and we can celebrate the birthday together, going from midnight to the next day. Thank you guys very much for watching. Thank you very much for following along. Again, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and don't forget to ring that little bell icon because YouTube never tells anybody that I'm uploading. And maybe leave a like. Yeah, one of those things. Thank you guys very much for watching. You guys are cool. You guys are awesome. And as usual, as always, my friends, stay frosty and keep moving forward.